Alrighty. Well, we know that he's lactose intolerant, so we can't ask him his favorite flavor of ice cream. But there are people who are lactose intolerant to still take the risk, and they have a favorite flavor. Do you have one, or you just don't have one?
Not me. I don't take the risk.
You don't take the risk.
I know some people take like a lactose pill.
That wouldn't help
immediately
me.
before or after.
Can't resist the ice cream, man.
Can't help
But
me.
You're not one of them.
No.
But you can still head up to Frostbites. You can still get some soup. You can get paninis and so much more for lunch. So check out Frostbites and Fiscal today.
Well, we normally have a convention. It's like etiquette.
Yeah.
Guest brings breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You didn't get that memo?
You didn't give me that memo. Sadly.
You know the excuse would be, I don't listen to you guys. I wouldn't know.
I'm disappointed now because I would have been prepared to,
Yeah.
feed the station.
Do you cook? Do you cook at home?
Not very often.
Not very often. Yeah, me
Right.
neither. Him neither.
Isn't it funny that there was a whole generation of Vincentian males who cooked? I'm sure, like your father's generation.
It must may have missed him.
Okay.
All right.
He wasn't part of that.
Maybe, yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
He didn't come to the convention.
All right, let me take some questions.
We have a lot of questions. This one is pretty interesting. The first part of it, they want to know if you're happy with your personal political journey so far.
I take things in stride. I don't allow the results of elections to affect my peace of mind, win, lose, or draw, really. And that was something that was ingrained in me from a long time ago, by something that my dad said on the occasion when I was running for the Guild presidency in Barbados. I was nervous.
At Cave Hill?
At Cave Hill.
Right.
I was Guild president there between 2016 and 2017. I was nervous on the night of the election results. And I called my dad and he asked him, well, I'm nervous about this. Tell me don't worry about anything because, it doesn't matter what the outcome is because you'll still be my son and I'll still love you and I'll still be here for you.
For those who don't know, Guild presidency campaigns in UAE.
Serious business.
Boy, serious business. Serious business.
And it was unprecedented. I was a first-year student. When I was running, I was the youngest person ever in contention for the presidency and so on. So it was some anxiety.
Guild campaigns come with a lot of slander as well. We've seen it here. A lot of your back has to be broad.
Well, nothing of the nature of political campaigns here.
So I want to know, like, when you hear some of the things that people say about you, right? How do you respond to it? Sometimes people get brave enough to say it to you in person or online or whatever.
But sometimes the first approach to dealing with vile criticism is not to subject yourself to it in the first place. So don't listen to it. Understand the motivations of some people and you push past that and move on. Because if you get stuck in the mode of just responding to every nasty thing that somebody could think of saying and does in fact say, then you're not going to make any progress with your life or with your campaign.
Okay. We have another question here. Were you invited to be senator by the leader of the opposition in this?
Well, I don't think that my circumstances now really allowed for me to be able to be selected to be a senator. I wanted to concentrate some energy on seeing how I could build up further a legal practice.
Right.
And maybe in the future some of these options may be on the table. I just go with the flow. I take one step at a time. I do my work today in the best way that I see fit and leave the future to take care of itself.
I thought he was going to say, I don't have to worry about that. I'm getting in through the back door.
Well, that is possible too. I wouldn't call it the back door,
right.
but through the operation of law.
But
maybe
you mentioned in the previous segment that we are migratory people.
Yeah,
a lot of us go away to live, and some of us gain citizenship elsewhere, and we're still Vincentians.
Yeah,
right. However, yourself and Mr. Carlos Williams are currently in contention with Dr. PM Friday and Fitz Bramble, MP Bramble, about their status as I guess sitting members of Parliament. Now, if you can accept that we're migratory people and that we tend to travel and we tend to live elsewhere and come back. Why the contention here? Well, does it make them less Vincentian?
No, well, we are migratory people, but we are also a people of laws. And the truth is, this is just a matter of determining what is permissible or possible under the law. This is really this is a constitutional issue that is being raised, which I think is very important to clarify our understanding of it. You have to ask yourself the question of whether or not you believe it is just thinking about it at the initial level. You have to ask yourself the question of whether or not you believe it is desirable for our leaders in parliament to have an allegiance to a foreign power or state, because that is what is being tested here, whether or not it is desirable for our parliamentarians to have that allegiance.
Did we feel the same way though about Camilo, about Louis Straker, about Sir Vincent Beach? Well, for those of us who don't know, what is the distinction?
Well, there's really no distinction as such in terms of the practical application of the law. And the truth is, Sir Louis, there's been much ado about Sir Louis' situation, and I think that the NDP is suffering from amnesia on the point, because I heard on the outside of the court this week, Kebakas saying that elections are won on election day and not in the court. But just a very short while ago, she was at Sir Louis' throat, basically saying to him that you're not eligible. In fact, I think I have a letter that Kebakas wrote to
he has his own briefcase. He sure had one.
So happened to have it.
He sure had one. He has one.
I think I have a
briefcase of files. Let me see.
Let's see if I have it here. I hope.
But what's the nature of it?
Basically saying to Sir Louis that he should resign from office, and he should resign from office because of the fact that he was an American citizen.
But it didn't go to court though.
Well, it didn't go to court, and there is a very good thing that it didn't go to court, because Sir Louis Straker renounced his citizenship since 1994. So he renounced his citizenship. So at the point of his election, he was not under that allegiance to a foreign power or state. And there's an importance.
What about Camilo?
Camilo, likewise.
But isn't he an American citizen?
No, he renounced his American citizenship.
If
even though in the case of Camilo, it would have likely been different, because he was
American born.
He was born in America.
So he could go back at any time.
Precisely, but he didn't want to take any chance about what might be the outcome.
No, but isn't that kind of almost defeating the point now, that when I'm done with his politics,
I can still go back.
I'll go back and get my American passport and
it's not I don't know if it's defeating the point, but even if that is the case, it still allows him to comply with the law as required in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that you cannot be under an allegiance. And the reason why this is important, so we could have a conceptual view that it is not desirable for our leaders to be under allegiance to a foreign power. And this has a practical significance as well. This is not just some nicety within our constitution, because if, say, a member of our parliament is under such an allegiance, he could be prosecuted in a foreign country for an action that he took in the interest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That is a serious matter. There is good authority for the potential for prosecution for our leaders if they are under such an allegiance. We are trying to avoid that scenario. You have, so for instance, if I am also under an allegiance to St. Kitts and Nevis, even though I am a born Vincentian, and I do something here in St. Vincent, which I think is in the interest of Vincentians, but St. Kitts and Nevis does not think it to be in their interest, and they could charge me, presumably maybe for treason in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I would be able to be prosecuted. That scenario is undesirable among our politicians. It's undesirable among members of parliament in general. And I think the point is even more glaring in relation to our prime minister and our Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Let's say
that is what is being tested in
let's
the court.
say your appeal is successful. Just for clarity, it doesn't go to a by-election.
Well, once certain conditions are satisfied, it will not go to a by-election. It will operate just in the
It's a
same way,
disqualification.
just like a disqualification. So like if you run 100 meters finals in the Olympics and you come first, but on review it is found that you had cut into the other lane, you are disqualified, and the person who was second now takes the gold medal. So a similar process would apply in the court once some conditions are satisfied.
And if it does go to a by-election, do you think you'd win?
Well, I'm taking it one step at a time, but suffice it to say that even if there were a by-election, which I believe is unlikely based on my understanding of the law, even if there were a by-election, then persons who remain under an allegiance to a foreign power or state will not be able to participate.
Wouldn't it be embarrassing that if you won, it goes back to a by-election, Fitz renounces his leadership, and the people punish you?
Well, punish? I don't know.
The will of the people is the will of the people.
Reason I say punish is that, you know, there is also the will of the people.
Right. Well,
people see Fitz, regardless of what the law states, right? And I understand it. If it's law, it's law. But you know, like common man law, people see Fitz as a Vincentian. He represented St. Vincent in multiple sporting occasions. You know, he's a son of the soil in the sense that people saw him grow up here, right? His mother's
born
from
here.
here, born here, blah, 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 right? You don't get the feeling that maybe, while it might be good to clarify this situation, that it could actually backfire.
Well, I don't know.
The ULP.
I don't know if it could backfire because it wouldn't create a worse political result than the ULP experienced in the last election.
Right.
Even if that were to happen.
But it would be the ULP, like
in
a
a sense,
perception
going
that you're not
against
accepting the will of the people.
No,
yeah.
because that can't be a correct perception, because the will of the people was that there should be a change of government, and there was in fact a change of government. This is not about changing.
Okay, well, all right. So let's say it was 8-7.
Well, it's not.
All right, moving on. Next question.
Do you believe corruption exists in governments?
Well, there are different levels of corruption, and I suppose that it exists everywhere. Studio, and you see a pen that is not yours, and you decide that you're going to take the pen, or if you see some paper that is the company's paper, and you remember that your child might want to complete a project at home, and you need some of this, and you don't get permission to take it. So
you don't think it's significant?
I don't think that there has been a problem with corruption in government during the Unity Labour Party's administration.
How would you know that?
Well, you would know by the reports of the Director of Audit, for instance, as a case in point, and there's been no report that has been damning of the government.
The Director of Audit is appointed by who?
Director of Audit is an independent office.
Okay.
So
who appoints the Director of Audit?
Well, the Public Service Commission, which is also an independent entity, I believe.
So what the follow-up question to that is, would you support the current administration's lobby for politicians having to declare their assets?
Well, we are all for. I don't want to comment on the lobby. I'd like them to take the further step of putting this into practice.
Do you think your party should have put it into practice? They had promised it.
Well, the question of integrity legislation, I think, is outstanding. I believe that integrity legislation has its place in public life, and we should always seek to increase the standards of integrity in government.
So why wasn't it done?
I'm not in a position to say why.
But you were.
I'm not.
You're not now.
But maybe within.
No, I'm saying I'm not in a position to say why it wasn't.
Oh,
you know.
So it never came up like within party.
No, it's not a discussion that has.
It wasn't a make or break for you.
No, it wasn't a make or break thing for me.
All right. Somebody else says, what was? Make sure I read them questions first. All right. What was going through your mind during the exchange with the PM and the constituent under the mango tree uptown just before election? That was all.
we're just talking to people. We were campaigning.
Oh, this is
this is when they were
the material
three sheets of galvanized, 2 sheets of lumber.
No, that's not what it was about. It was about a campaign a campaign activity.
You didn't think it was strange though, where you have the PM of at that time sitting under a tree directing whoever it was resources to go to this person and that part, on basically on the back of a cigarette pack, as the saying goes.
Well, I don't know if it was a cigarette pack, but
right next to him, you were right there.
Well, okay, it wasn't a cigarette pack.
Well, no, that's metaphorical.
Exactly.
I said figuratively.
Right.
I.e., it wasn't structured.
Well, I don't know what. Well, you go with the prime minister, and the prime minister has the authority to direct people in government, wherever he is.
But you don't think that was a bit strange?
I don't think anything was strange about what happened uptown at all.
Is that just part of the election game now, like the whole material thing?
No, well, material is there's a distribution of material inside and outside of election
season. Why would the
season.
PM be involved in that?
Well, the prime minister goes and meets somebody in the course of a campaign, and they raise an issue with them. Whatever that issue they raise with them, it might be an issue of, I went to the welfare department and I had a problem getting public assistance, or I submitted a request for material in the Ministry of Housing and I ain't hear back anything from them yet, or
but in that moment, how did he know whether that had happened?
Well, he investigated it.
Where, under the tree?
So I don't understand.
No, but picture it, right? Let's take it out of our context. Let's picture it in the UK. Keir Starmer sitting under a tree and directing 10 sheets of galvanized to go to Mr. Jones at the top of the hill.
But that did not happen.
2 sheets of lumber to go down to
that did not happen.
Mrs. Robertson.
What happened?
That's not what happened. So I don't know.
What happened?
I think that people might be referring to a case where someone came up to the prime minister in those circumstances and said, well, there was a material, they had made a request for material and they hadn't heard back anything, and they had a copy of the material form, the request.
No, that wasn't what it was. It was ad-libbing.
No, that's not true. That's not, as far as I know.
Okay.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
Fair enough. Let's see. I have another question. So, do you see yourself running for politics again?
Yes. I don't know the circumstances under which I might run again, but I do see myself.
East Kingston, or are you done with that?
Let me just say, I mean, in the past, well, I love East Kingston for a very natural reason. I am from East Kingston. Politics for me has never been a matter of convenience. I feel committed to the constituency. I feel committed to doing public service on behalf of the people that I grew up around, and that is what dictated my choice. And that is what dictated my choice, despite the political history in the constituency. And I think that we need to get to a point where people are more nuanced in their assessment of political results. Somebody might say, well, boy, look, this person ran in this constituency 3 times, 4 times, and then win. I mean, the people don't want him. No, it means that the person is in a situation where they did not have quite the same level of political capital that somebody else in that constituency has had. So it is not an indictment on the potential or the ability or the quality of that person. It's a state of the political reality.
Do you think your party should have given you more capital to work with?
Well, I'm talking about political capital. I'm not talking about in the sense of financial resources. I'm talking about political capital in the nature of build a political base in the constituency. You look objectively and you would see that East Kingston has been the most difficult constituency for the ULP since independence. You might say, since it was created. I think it was created perhaps in 1989. I'll just double check the year. But in any case, well, after the creation of 3 Kingston constituencies, it was there before, but it had a different configuration until Central Kingston was set up in, I think, between 1987 when it became 3 Kingston seats. And since then, the ULP or the Labour Party before it has not won the seat. This doesn't mean that it is unwinnable. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't carry out our work there. This doesn't take our attention off of the fact that, for instance, in the 2020 election, there were over 2,300 people who voted for the ULP in the constituency. So sometimes it's a matter of narrow margins. So
there was a rumor, and I have no factual basis for saying that the ULP were looking at other candidates for the seat. We heard Luther's name,
Rodney Small.
We heard a few other. Is there any truth in that, or were you always a candidate?
Well, I wouldn't say that the ULP was looking for other candidates. I mean, the nature of candidate selection is such that anyone who has an interest in being a candidate could express that interest and could pursue that interest to what they think to be the logical extent of it. And maybe that was the situation in East Kingstown for a period of time. When it came down to it, there was at the candidate selection meeting, I was nominated unopposed by the constituency, and I was elected to be their candidate once more.
Right.
All right. Somebody else has a question, I guess, following up from something you just said. What is it possible, if the leadership of the ULP does not change, that we can see the advent of a new party?
I don't think so. I believe that there will be a transition in leadership. But I believe that whether or not there's a transition in leadership, it's very unlikely to see that you'd see the advent of a new party.
Is it helpful for the former prime minister to be this kind of omnipresent presence in the opposition still?
Well, he is the only elected representative.
Yeah. Accepted, but is it at least those of us who are not politically affiliated, his utterances since he's come out of office seem to be somewhat hypocritical. He says things now which, at least from our side, didn't seem to be the case when he was in office.
Well, I don't know if you have any clear examples, but to speak to the particular point, I believe that.
For example, because it seems to be a bit of a bugbear amongst the ULP, amongst the top ranks of the ULP, that like media spend on Star Radio, which to me is not a big issue, but he seems to be making it a big issue.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that goes to your point of hypocrisy between the position in government and out
very, very hypocritical in the sense that, if it was done on a listenership basis, Star FM wouldn't have got any advertising for the last 20 years.
Well, you might be
just going off survey data, not my personal view, but survey data.
You have the data that you could share?
Yeah, we have all the data. There's independent surveys.
Well, you should share it with me, so I could be informed.
And so to now be crying about not getting state support, when most people would say you were never really entitled to it in the first place.
I don't know. I don't know the basis of entitlement, but I don't think that is.
Do you think Star FM is entitled to state support?
Well, I don't think anybody is entitled to anything, but there could be a case made.
So why is he preaching that now?
And it's not a matter of being entitled to state support. I think is a question of entities making decisions which are in their commercial interest, and they feel it is desirable to market or to promote things on Star FM or on Hot 97.
But that's not what he's saying. He's saying that they should get their fair, and he says it's undemocratic, and he's going to be calling the UN human rights, blah blah blah. Right?
But that
doesn't strike you as being hypocritical?
No, it doesn't at all.
Okay.
All right. Somebody has a complaint about the ULP, as it comes, saying that, I guess, after the elections, that van drivers, caterers, office workers, boats, entertainers, jersey suppliers are still asking to be paid. Is that any truth in that, or anything about that from an admin level?
I don't know the details, but I do believe that there's still outstanding election expenses, as might be normal. You try to grapple and catch your hand.
I'm sure Poppy got paid them. I am sure Poppy got paid.
Well, I'm sure that there are outstanding expenses.
Do you believe in this? Our elections have become very expensive. Big artists,
too expensive.
Too expensive.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that style of campaign? Is it effective? Who brings in the biggest artist? And
Well, it's a matter of marketing. You're trying.
but is it effective?
It can be effective. I don't know if it is effective. It is effective, but
It's
it
gone
can
too far, though.
But it can be effective.
Is it effective when both sides do it? I guess is the question.
Well, depending on what you mean. You see, it's marketing.
Yeah.
And you just have to have a marketing strategy, and you test the strategy, see if the strategy works. Once the strategy is based on a particular theory, which is sound, then you might get the results that you desire.
But can you see the two parties coming together and saying, look, we've let this go too far. It's too expensive.
We're spending millions
We're
of dollars
spending
on
millions of
foreign
dollars on
artists.
foreign artists. It doesn't happen in Barbados. I looked at their recent campaign. A lot of their rallies are people coming with little beach chairs and whatnot, sitting down, listening. Right? It looks like majority of their rallies are like that. Could you see the two parties having that
plus their rallies
discussion?
aren't as bigger.
Yeah.
Well, you could the voter turnout in Barbados was very low. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that they weren't bringing in the artists, but the turnout was very low. I think it was a 30% or so turnout, which is really small.
Yeah.
I think our turnout might be somewhere in the vicinity of 70% so, and could be more, and probably is more if you consider the fact that some of the people who are actually on the voters list are not available for voting because they're overseas and so on. So you have to consider many different.
But would you support like campaign law, to restrict the amount of money spent? Would you support large donors having to be declared?
I think there's scope for that.
If we're talking about foreign influence on elections and things.
I think there's scope for that in our politics.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd have to study the matter carefully and come up with specific recommendations, but I think there's scope for it.
Right.
All right. Let me see. Some of these questions are
Wild.
some of these questions are even I would.
How did you take it? You got married relatively recently.
Yeah.
And
all this criticism.
You hear these wild things like he got married because
It's more politically.
it would help him politically.
Oh gosh. Did it?
Actually, perhaps more importantly, how would your wife take that? Because it's quite
tough.
Yeah, she's a strong woman. We take it in stride. It's just a part of
part of the game.
All the nasty things that people would say. You know, you don't pay attention to it. You know what people are up to, and you just move on with your lives.
How do you deal with a mother-in-law that might not like you? I think a lot of men
men can relate to that one.
Just love her unconditionally still.
I have one here from the line. One of our viewers on YouTube is asking, if you were in charge of the ULP last election, what would you have done differently?
Well, that's a very hypothetical question.
But I'm sure you had dreams, you had different ideas that you might have had that you would have probably done.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
I don't think, I don't think something stands out to me like out of the heat of the campaign time. Like I said before, some of the things that should have been done or could have been done differently might have been associated with policy decisions, might have been associated with, political strategy in the 5-year period, rather than something within the context of the campaign.
You don't buy into this talk that it was a referendum on Ralph Gonsalves?
Well, like I say, there's the element of change, and we need a change that I think may have had something to do with the election results. But I don't think we could be narrowing our analysis.
No. Let me ask you this: we've spoken about it. There's been this expression since the election that the place feels freer, and I think what people mean by that is that
They're not afraid to express
they're
their
not
opinions.
so afraid to express themselves.
Something
do you
that may have
accept that
existed
as
before.
a legit criticism of not really of the UOP, but more of Ralph Gonsalves?
I think there was quite a great degree of freedom of expression in the campaign, if you ask me.
But before that,
no, well, during the time of the ULP government, there was no constraint on freedom of expression.
Typically from like public servants, though, you wouldn't get a lot of people who maybe are in positions where their ministry or their departments are under heavy criticism, and they would come out and explain exactly what happened.
Businesses have been mute.
Well,
Now you get it.
I honestly don't perceive a difference in terms of people's inclination to express themselves between then and now.
Yeah, you don't see that there was any like intimidation from government?
No, I have had rumors, I should say, about intimidation from this new government in relation to public servants. So certainly to the extent that there was intimidation, and I'm not accepting that, there is still the same suggestion about it being the case under this new administration.
Okay.
All right.
All right. People are asking why haven't people who campaigned and worked with the party been paid yet?
Well, I think I
You just
addressed that.
mentioned
Yeah.
What is your assessment of the NDP's first 100 days?
If we were to assess the NDP by its own criteria, I don't think that they would get a passing grade. We're talking about 100 days. Let's take the first 60 days because that is what they had stipulated. Look, say they went as far on their cards and say hold this card to keep us to our commitments. I mean, without that statement, it would have been bad enough. But they in a moment of conscious thought told us to do that. But what has happened? Well, you know, the whole confusion about the double salary, which was eventually resolved as being a bonus which had so many qualifying conditions and fine print that perhaps was there was a whole, I don't know if it ended up being ended up being implemented well. So there was the bonus, and there's that. They said that they were going to reinstate public servants with back pay. We understand that the back pay has gone on hold. They very belatedly were able to put in place the increase in public assistance, as I understand it. But it wasn't a doubling of public assistance as they had marketed it, because public assistance.
500. They promised 500.
Well, they promised to double it from 250 to 500.
Yeah.
So there was no. There was no.
Minor technicality.
There was no doubling in
But
that
it got
sense.
to 500.
Got to 500. And then one of the very critical things that they campaigned upon and they had a lot of discussion around had to do with the reduction in the cost of living. And they said that they were going to slash VAT. This was their main argument. We are going to reduce VAT from 16% to 13%. And they have not reduced VAT. They have said that it's now going to be subject to an analysis and an assessment in a couple months' time, maybe towards the end of the year. But I anticipate that when we get to that stage, we would be confronted with the conclusion that there's going to be no reduction in VAT. That was the heart of your platform, and it wasn't delivered. So if, to get back to the question, if we're to judge them on the basis of the things that they said they would do, I don't think that they'd have a passing grade.
If say within a year they fulfill those, how would you perhaps give them a pass? It took them longer because their argument is that the Treasury is in a much more dire circumstance than what they had anticipated.
Well, that wasn't factored into the commitments that they made,
Right.
And I think that they could have.
That was an error on their part.
I think it was an error. They could have been more sensitive, and I don't know if that is the basis for if there is a basis for them to say that either. And you know, and there was a lot of criticism around the approach that the government took in relation to debt and matters of debt. But in their very first budget, we see a current account deficit of over $100 million, which is more than the cumulative current account deficit that the ULP had for the past 4 years. That is an indication that we may be in a state of affairs where there's not adequate regard for fiscal responsibility. The situation is still unfolding. We would see if they manage to salvage anything in the upcoming weeks and months. But I think...
Are you rooting for them?
I'm rooting for the ULP.
That's the question.
Well,
Good.
good.
Make a little mommy run. I forgot that.
I'm disappointed. I was looking
Yeah,
forward.
I'm disappointed too. I heard they asked you a question a while ago, right? If you would give the NDP a passing grade, and you said no. Would you give the ULP a passing grade in their performance over the 20 how much ever years in governance?
Well, I addressed my views on the ULP. I said that in relation to the economy, our performance, we had a good performance.
You really think, and you believe that?
Yes, sir.
You believe that you all have done well?
Yes, sir. And I saw you only coming in at the tail
No,
end.
forget about our time.
I saw you only coming at the tail end because
you be, no,
I saw you only coming at the tail end because
you actually believe.
You're coming when anything ending for me, man. Why you do that?
The end of the sweet.
You would have liked me.
If I feel I would have liked you.
You feel you would have liked me. So you didn't want to run the risk. You didn't want to run the risk.
Forget the liking part. I tried to understand something.
No, but the time it was up to night.
I didn't like you. I wouldn't like you, and I still don't like you.
You like me.
I'm saying,
and I like you.
I'm saying. I'm asking you.
What answer?
Are you?
I answered.
Are you?
I'm sorry that you forfeited.
In the best interest of yourself and in your heart.
I sorry you forfeited.
You honestly believe.
Yeah, and I answered
that the ULP has done well to all and country in the past 20 how much years in governance. You believe so?
I think the period of achievement. I'm sorry that you didn't come in time for us to be able to elaborate on it, but that is my belief.
That is your honest belief?
Yes, sir.
And you believe that this case that you all have going on with Fitz and Dr. Friday.
Man, why you ain't come on anything, man?
No, because I had some other issues.
You want to reinterrogate the whole program now?
You honestly believe that this case makes sense. Although Fitz is a born Vincentian. Dr. Friday is a born Vincentian. So was Camilo. So was Glenn Beach. So was Louis Straker was a born Vincentian?
Yes.
And you believe that this case...
Camilo wasn't a born Vincentian. No.
He wasn't a born Vincentian. So then shouldn't he been under the microscope too? Like no?
No, because he renounced his citizenship before contest.
Well, that's what we heard, but we don't know.
Well, they could have tested it in court as well too.
So if they were sitting, as in Dr. Friday, Fitz Bramble was sitting in opposition for 20 how much years, there wasn't an issue. Why is that issue now?
Well, the truth is, and like I said again, I'm sorry that you're just jumping in, but we mentioned it before, but it's and you say, why is it an issue now? Well, first of all, in the case of the foreign minister, he wasn't in opposition for so long, just 5 years or so in opposition.
But he born in Vinci though.
He born in Vinci, but the point that I made earlier is
no, but Friday was it?
Friday was, but so in relation to the timeline point, there was a development, and I think that you should pay attention to it in the law in 2020, which clarified the position of the court on foreign citizenship in St. Kitts, which is a part of our jurisdiction. And based on that clarity, it now becomes a clearer cut case in relation to these persons. But theirs is
different though, because there's states, you have to, our state's Commonwealth.
Our state's Commonwealth citizens could run, but that does not affect the court's view of what constitutes
that's what you're testing. That's what you're testing.
Well, and we're testing it because in our assessment, that does not affect the court's view on what is a foreign power or state. The fact that a Commonwealth citizen can run doesn't change the definition of what is a foreign power.
The PM himself, I'm sure you would have seen it. It ran around on social media recently, where in his own words, he said, and he cited a Nigerian could come here and a year and a day later could run for office, could become prime minister, and he said it was wrong.
Well, so right? it is wrong.
But he said under the current law, that is possible.
That is possible if that Nigerian is not under allegiance by his own act to a foreign power or state.
Doesn't the law state is the allegiance to the Commonwealth?
No. There's nothing about the allegiance to the Commonwealth. The law states.
What is the role of the Commonwealth in this argument?
There's really no role, except that it is open for Commonwealth citizens to run in the elections, subject to some conditions.
Okay.
And those conditions are not being under allegiance to a foreign power or state. The question that arises here is whether or not these gentlemen are under allegiance to a foreign power or state.
Right.
So somebody from the Commonwealth could run. You could run if you're from St. Vincent, you're from Grenada, you're from Dominica, you're from Barbados, you're from Nigeria. So long as you satisfy the condition of not by your own act being under allegiance to a foreign power.
So the question then is, what constitutes being under the allegiance of a foreign power?
Well, and that is clear. So, for instance, if you apply for a passport and obtain a passport, that places you under the allegiance. That is the issue, really, that is at the heart of this legal matter.
So if I'm a Nigerian and I don't have a passport,
if you're a Nigerian,
I'm not under allegiance, is that?
So by your own act. So, for instance, you could be Nigerian born, and that is determined, incidentally, that is determined by the foreign law. So, for instance, if St. Kitts says that somebody who has a St. Kitts and Nevis passport is not by their own act under an allegiance to St. Kitts and Nevis, then that person could run in our elections.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So I still missing something.
No, I'm not missing anything.
Oh yeah, because if Dr. Friday was,
Well, I'm saying
opposition,
there was a clarification on that point in 2020. So it didn't exist before.
That's when it was contested in St. Kitts.
That's when it was contested in St. Kitts. So it wouldn't the case would not have had quite the same sure footing that it has now. Before the decision that was given by the court.
Dr. Friday was
in
still in
2020.
opposition, would this been an issue?
Well, it would have been an issue. The question as to whether or not you go forward with it is a different thing.
Right.
But it would have been an issue. It would still have been a valid constitutional matter,
Okay.
which is worth ventilating in court.
All right, Luke, it's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure.
The first UOP candidates.
And next time you have me, make sure to cool here from the start.
Next week, same time.
Blessings, guys. Take care.
All right, thanks.
Very good. Right.
Yeah, man, thanks so much. Easy.